Hi everybody, we're going to continue on with our look at angles in maths today, and we're going to start with our flashback 4. What I want you to do is write a fraction that is equivalent to 1/2, so that is the same proportion as a half. Multiply 168 by 5, work out the perimeter of this rectangle. We've got 6 millimeters by 20 millimeters, and remember that's the perimeter, not the area. And write 500,000 in figures or digits. So pause the video, give it a go, because I'm about to go for the answers. So write a fraction. So you could have any fraction here. We've got 2/4, 3/6, 10, 20ths. Look at the relationship between the top number, or the numerator, and the denominator. You'll notice that the numerator is always half of the denominator. So this is saying we've got 20 equal pieces and we're only having 10 of them, and we know that 10 is half of 20. So any number, you could have 50 100ths, you could have 500 1,000ths. I mean, the list is endless, almost endless. Multiply 168 by 5, so that should be 840. If we multiply it by 10, we get 1,680, and then half 1,600, half 80, 840. Perimeter of the rectangle. So remember, can anybody be really interested to see if anybody can remember our formula for working out the perimeter? So write down the formula. So remember, it was length plus width. Length plus width times 2. So 20. Add 6, 26, times by 2 is 52. There we go. 500,000 in figures, it's 500,000. So a 5 followed by 5 zeros. Well done if you got those. So moving more on to our lesson. So let's just have a quick recap. Look at these angles, work out if they are acute, right angle, or obtuse, and how do you know? And just to be more obvious, we're talking about those angles, because remember, we should have that. If you can research what that line is called, I did know at one point, I've forgotten, and I was going to look it up, but I forgot to. So if you can tell me what the blue line that I've drawn is called, I'd be really interested. Back to what we're doing. What are these angles called? Obtuse. We know this is an obtuse because 90 degrees is roughly there and 180 is there, and we know it's larger, then it goes through 90, but it hasn't quite got to 180. Right angle, we know, is the corner of that square. Here is a question for some of you to extend yourself. If a right angle is 90, and that's an internal angle, what is all of the internal angles of a square, what do they add up to? So we've got 90 there, 90 there, 90 there, and 90 there. It'll be 90 times 4, 9 times 4 is 36, 360. And finally, we have an acute. We know it's less than 90. What I do in my mind, I draw in, that's not perfect, that's an estimate. Just remember, we are estimating. I put in my 90, and I know that I haven't quite got, if I'm going from this line all the way around, have I got to 90 yet? No. 90 is all the way here. Whereas here, if I start here and I go around, I've got to 90, and I've gone past 90. So, what type of angle is angle X, angle X, and angle Y? Which angle is bigger? How do you know? Have a think about it. Which one's bigger? Pause the video, write it down. How do you know? Whoops. Which one's bigger? Again, estimate that put that imaginary 90 degrees in. Now which one's bigger? I know that X is bigger, and it's called an obtuse angle because X has gone past 90 degrees, whereas Y hasn't quite got to 90 degrees yet. So I know that this is going to be somewhere less than 90. And I know this one is going to be somewhere greater than 90. I can estimate Y if this is 90, I can see it's not quite, but it's roughly halfway around. The distance from here to here is roughly the same as here to here. Not quite. So it's going to be roughly 45, in my estimation, roughly 45 degrees. You might argue that it's closer to 40. And this one over here. We've got 180 here, and we've got 90 there, so it's somewhere in the middle of 90 and 180. So, maybe 105? No, it's not going to be 105, is it? 90 and 80 add 45, 135. Roughly 145. The way I did that, I took 90, and I took half of 90 is 45, so 90 at 45 is 135, so it'll be roughly 135. And that's rough. So what I want you to do is I want you to put these angles in order from smallest to greatest. But I also, can you give me a sensible guess as to what these angles are? Or what they might be? Give me a sensible guess. So pause the video, put them in order. Give me a sensible guess. I'm going to go through the answers. So here we go. Smallest. How do I know that one goes there? Well, I know that this one is 90, or near enough. 90 degrees. Always remember that degrees. Did I remember it back here? Roughly 90 degrees. Now, if I look here, I'm going to put in my imaginary 90. That's about halfway. From there to there is roughly halfway. So it's going to be roughly 45 degrees. Here, I'm going to put in my imaginary 90. Because it's gone past 90, I'm going to put in my imaginary 180. I'm going to say that's not quite halfway. And we said halfway was, what, 135? So maybe that's 130, 125? I'm going to say 130 would be a sensible guess. But anyway, 130, maybe between 135 and 125 would have been a good guess. And this angle here is a little bit further. So I've got my 90 here, and I've got there. That to me looks roughly halfway between, so that's probably going to be close to 135. I feel like if there's going to be mistakes in putting these in order, it's going to be between these two. They were very similar, but we can easily see when we put in those imaginary 90 and 180 degree lines, we can see that this one is slightly smaller. So well done. What I want you to do is have a go, put these angles in order, and then can you give these an estimate as well? Remember, it's that angle, this angle, this angle, and this angle. So let's have a look. Put them in order. Here we go. This time it's from greatest. Sorry, I didn't say that before. Greatest to smallest. So here, now, what it might be good for you to do is, if you're using a tablet or a piece of paper, is to rotate your piece of. You can't see it because I'm doing it on my device, but I've just rotated it. So this line is now horizontal with my desk. The edge of my desk, that line is now horizontal. Now I can more easily put in my 180 degree line and my 90 degree line, because to me, looking at it, this is now pointing straight up towards my monitor, and this one is going along the edge of my desk. So that's what I suggest you to do. You rotate your piece of paper. But I can see that this is maybe 145, probably closer to 150 degrees. Now, again, I'm going to rotate this one. This is along with my desk, and I can see that this is perpendicular, so that has to be 90 degrees. Even though it's turned, it still looks to me, it might be slightly less to be honest, but it's roughly 90. Okay, I'm going to put this line flat with the edge of my desk, draw a little line here, a little line here. It looks to me just over halfway, so I would maybe go with, instead of it being 45, I would maybe go with 50 degrees. maybe 55 you could argue, and this one is absolutely tiny. That's going to be a really small guess, probably 10 and 5. So those aren't exact, they're just my estimates. Finally, I'm going to go through this one a lot quicker, pause the video, put them in order from smallest to greatest. Here we go. Maybe 15 degrees. This one again, rotate it, so one of these lines is flat. Probably talking 20, 25 degrees. Just slightly less, probably closer to 85 degrees, and this one is clearly, there's my 90, it's clearly past that, maybe 110 degrees. They're just estimates, they're just guesses, sensible guesses. The reason I've got 110 is it's gone past 90, but it's not quite at 135. So what I want you to do is have a look at this quadrilateral. Which of these angles are acute? Which of them are obtuse? Put them in order from smallest to greatest. Pause the video and then unpause it when you are ready. So, angles are acute. We can put roughly, well, that's a bit off, roughly 90 degrees there. That's really off. That's not anywhere near 90 degrees. Here we go. That is 90 degrees. That is 90 degrees. Roughly 90 degrees. And that is 90 degrees from this one here. So I'm putting in my rough ones in. We can see that A hasn't yet got to 90 degrees. D or C haven't got to 90 degrees yet, so they are all acute angles, which means B is obtuse. And if we put them in order, we can see that greatest, largest is going to be B, then it's going to be D because it's closest to 90, then it's going to be C, and then it's going to be A. Well done if you got that. So here are our chili challenges. One chili challenges, give it a go. Which one is obtuse, which one is acute? How do you know? Remember, draw in your pretend 90 and your pretend 180, and you'll see. You might want to use language like this one is closer to 90, it's further away because I've gone past 90, I haven't gone past 90 yet, those sorts of languages. 2 chili challenge, and finally our 3 chili challenge. So I look forward to seeing what you come up with. You've shown that you're quite confident with this so far. Have fun. Maybe practice drawing some angles. If you've got access to a ruler, give it a go. If you've got access to a protractor, maybe practice that. We're going to practice those skills in more detail when we go back, but it's good to have a look.